little bit low.
Low?
A little bit low.
Okay, and now
Still low.
still low? Okay, one moment. And now do you hear me well?
Better.
Okay, okay, okay. Before beginning this session, I want to share with you some slides of a PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to share my screen. Are you seeing the screen?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Okay. What do you see? What do you see here?
What do you guys see? How can you describe what
What do
you
I
see?
see? What is this figure?
A dolphin, I guess.
Oh, good guess. Good guess. It's very similar to the Dolphin Network, but look the title. Look the title.
It's our network.
It's our network. Okay. Each one of you is one node here. Okay. Uh, there are 39 students of this course that are here. There are some 5 or 6 that are missing. I invite the missing students that have not filled the information of the network to do it. Okay. Uh, I have play a little bit with our network. Let me show you. This is the between centrality. This color at the left correspond to nodes with big between centrality. Uh, but you don't know who are the nodes. Perhaps this node is someone of you. Closeness centrality. Who is of you guys? Who is the student that is nearer from the rest of the students? Okay, there are some. These two are I guess are bigger, the biggest closeness centrality. Degree centrality. Okay, and here I have the 4 measures here uh, together, and we can compare a little bit the 4 centrality measures. Okay, okay. Let me show communities. Okay, I ran the Lubine algorithm, the most famous algorithm for detecting communities, and the result is 3 communities. 3 communities. What are the members of the communities? Okay, global measures. It's interesting, these global measures. Okay, average path length, 5.39. It's a big average path length. I guess this network is not a small world network. It's not a small world. You guys are in a big world, not in a small world. Okay, it's clear. Yes,
Yes.
yes. All of you are part of a big world, not a small world. Clustering coefficient 0.47, very high clustering coefficient. So I guess you are working together. You are learning a lot in this course. So the clustering coefficient is very high. Cohesion, very cohesive group. Okay. Number of triangles 21. Okay. Average degree 2.9. Okay, this is interesting. Diameter 13, a big diameter, and low density, obviously. Uh, okay, I don't know if there is any question or observation about these graphs. Okay, the degree distribution is here. It's not is normal, I guess. It's okay. It's not okay. It's a peculiar distribution. It's not really normal. It's not scale free, but it's a mixture. It's a very small network. Okay. Hey guys, do you want to know where do you are in this network or not? Please raise your hand if you want to know where in the. I want to see one moment. I want to see how many raise the hand. Alice Fernando, how many hand raised?
It's 8 so far. One,
Eight so
two,
far. Oh no
one,
no
two, three,
no.
4, 5,
Only
6,
eight.
7, 8,
And
9,
you're 30. Okay.
9, 9.
Nine. Okay. 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 If there's no more than 20, I'm not going to show where you are in the network.
No.
I'm not going to show where you are in the network. Let's see how many.
10,
10.
11, 12, 13,
Okay.
14, 15,
14, 15.
16,
Ina Maria, thank you.
16.
16. Okay. Okay, let's show this. Let me one moment. Okay. Okay, it's not very clear. It's not very clear, but look, here, for example, in this center is Alex Rojas. Alex, you are here. Okay. Good news or bad news, Alex?
I hope good news.
Hub. You are a hub, Alex. You are okay. Okay. Here. Jimmy Prieto is here. Jimmy Prieto.
Yes.
Jimmy, you are a bridge. You are a bridge. You are connecting to communities, okay?
Okay.
Okay. This is a small community. Manuel, Daniel, and Laura Garzón, a good community. Here in this group, Nicolás, okay. Santiago Ladino, Juan David Lara are here, etc., etc., etc. Okay. I invite you if you want to. I'm gonna publish this network in the web page, and if you want to play with the network to learn something or to do something, you could next session present your results, and that could be an additional point. Additional point.
Ricardo has a question. Ricardo?
Okay, Ricardo, tell me.
Hello, see, I saw the arrows, so weights were used.
Okay, thank you for the question, Ricardo. Very good question. Uh, I draw this graph as an undirected graph, okay? Undirected graph. But the original graph is directed. because friendship is a directed relation, okay? Next session, I'm going to show the directed graph and some analysis of the directed graph, okay? Ricardo, thank you for the question. It's a very good question. Do you know, here there are links these links are very thin and these are very fat. I guess you know why. I guess you know why these are fat and these are thin, okay? Or you don't know?
I
Someone tell me why there are fat links and thin links. Could someone tell me?
They know more. They know more about each
Who who
token.
is who is saying that?
Daniel.
Okay, Daniel. Yes, yes. In the survey we made for building this network, we asked a question about the degree of friendship of the of the students of this class that you know. So this corresponds to that. Okay. I don't know if there is any more questions about our network. It's a very interesting network, I guess. Very interesting.
Yes, teacher, I'd like to know how many communities do you have in this network? Because, for example, I mark like I don't know anything, and I suppose that I will be a slot, a slot node, but I found that I'm in a little community.
Okay, are you seeing the communities?
Yes,
Who was asking the question?
Lina.
Lina. Lina?
Yes.
Okay, Lina, are you seeing the screen? Here is a possibility of communities. If I run another algorithm for communities, possible there are going to be 4 or 5, but I guess 3 is a good number here. 3 communities. I guess this, for example, this could be 2 communities, one here and one here, okay? The algorithm joined these 8 people as one community. I don't know why. I don't know why, okay? But I guess 4 communities is more correct. This 1, this 2, 3, and 4. This person who is Jimmy Fernando Prieto, is a bridge between these 2 communities. And the algorithm put Jimmy Fernando in the right community and not in the left community. I don't know why. I don't know why, okay? The algorithm is okay. Any other question, please, about our network?
Teacher, in this order, sorry, the question again, but when do you consider that is normal or is a good metric to say I feel that 4 or 3 or 2 or wherever community are a good number for my network?
Who is asking the question?
Lina?
Okay, Lina, it's a very good question. There are various ways to evaluate an algorithm that finds communities and find if that algorithm has find good communities or not. Okay, there are criteria to know if the algorithm has found good communities. But I have to tell you, Lina, and the rest of you, it's a very ambiguous question and has no clear answer. What you have to do is run one algorithm, see the communities, investigate if this is according to what you are researching. If not, then you use another algorithm, So this is a research item, and in other words, there is no best communities of a network. Okay, it's possible that if a network is small, it could be very clear to know the communities. But if you have a network of 1 million nodes, it's not clear where the communities are optimized or not. I guess I don't know if you understand me, that.
Yes, teacher, my question is about for that reason, because in our mini project, it was so difficult to identify some communities when I have
Okay.
a large number of nodes.
Okay. It's a common problem. It's a common problem, that communities are not clear. For example, some algorithms, for example, this node here could be in both communities. Okay, this is important, guys. This is important. Communities could be overlap. See, overlap. There could be a node in two communities. This is not prohibited. The normal thing is that there is a partition. You know what is a partition? Every node belongs to only one community. But in the last years, some algorithms put nodes into communities, for example. And there are overlapped communities. It is clear what I am saying, guys? So not necessarily the communities are a partition of the network, but it's the most common thing. Okay, it's clear. Okay. Okay. Any more question? If not, I'm
Teacher,
going to. Okay.
you said before that the network is directed. Then
Yes.
how do you choose the weights? The average?
The average degree.
No, I mean the graph originally is directed, but
Okay.
here is undirected. And how do you choose the weights? You did
Okay.
the average, or how did you do that?
Okay. The weights are independent of the weights is one thing, and if it's directed or not, it's another thing.
Yes,
Are different things.
but the strong of the relationship is
Yes.
here
Okay.
is undirected. Then how did you calculate this
Okay.
if
Okay.
you begin with a directed graph?
Who is asking?
Daniel,
Excuse me.
Daniel.
Okay, Daniel. The the width of the links were obtained by information you gave to me in the survey we made.
Yes, I mean originally is directed. Then should be one arrow, for example, from me to my partner and my partner for me. But here
Yes.
is just one link.
Okay. Okay. I assume that it is if there's if okay if this guy said I'm friend of him, and these guys said I'm not a friend of him, I always put a link. If 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 A said was friend of B, or B said was friend of A, I put a link. Okay, is that the question?
Okay, so if both put they have a relationship, a friendship, then the link is stronger.
No. The stronger of the link, I take it from the survey, from information you gave me. The direction of the links are not here, but how how I convert a directed graph to an undirected graph? Okay, that's a good question. There's not a unique way. The most obvious way is saying if A is friend of B or B is friend of A, any of the two, you put a link.
And what do you do with the weights?
No. The weights were
Yes, but in undirected way, I mean, you put the weight. O sea, no sé si lo puedo explicar en español porque ya me estoy
okay.
enredando
Say it
mucho.
say it in Spanish, no problem.
La cosa es, tenemos el grafo no dirigido
¿Sí?
y pues en este caso tienen pesos cada una de las relaciones, ¿sí? ¿Cómo se calcularon esos pesos? Si originalmente pues nosotros lo vimos pues dirigido, ¿no?
Ok, este peso se sacó. Espérenme un segundo que mis perritos están ladrando. Espérenme un segundito. Ok, voy a tratar de hablar ahí con el sonido de los perros. El grosor de estos enlaces fue sacado de una pregunta que se hizo de la encuesta, que si bien
Sí.
recuerdo es...
Pero entonces, como pueden haber...
eres tú de la otra persona de 1 a 5, ¿ok?
Sí. Pero, por ejemplo, yo voy de A a B y tiene 3, y de B a A tiene 2. Entonces, ¿cuál sería el peso en el grafo no dirigido?
Ah, ok, no te había entendido. La verdad no sé. La verdad no sé porque yo tomé la información. Déjame yo averiguo. Excuse me, I'm going to investigate that. It's a good question. I have not understood your question. I now understood it, and in this moment, I don't know. Okay?
Okay, don't worry.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the question. I don't know because I calculate this network with some data but I have not done anything to the data. I have not notified the data, okay? I have not notified the data. Okay, another question, please. Okay, in the last session, we talk about network models. In this session, we are going to talk about diffusion on networks, vulnerabilities on networks, one of the most important topics in network science. But before beginning this topic, there is one thing I have to show you. It's a video. An excellent video. It's called The Promise of Network Science. It's a 15-minute video. In that video, you are going to see Duncan Watts, you're going to see Steven Strogatz talking, you are going to see Albert Barabasi, you are going to see the 6 or 7 most important researchers in network science. They are part of that video that was built, I guess, in 2016. It's an excellent video. I invite you, when I put play to the video, I invite you, as in all videos that we are going to see, that you take a sheet of paper, a pencil or a pen, and while you are seeing the video, annotate observations, commentaries, or questions that you would like to ask after seeing the video, okay? Yes? It's clear? Guys?
It's clear.
It's clear, okay.
Yes, clear.
Let me, I'm gonna put the video here. I'm gonna stop presenting. I'm gonna present a tab, and this tab is the promise of network science. Okay, I learned to do it. Are you seeing the video?
Yes. Yes.
Small questions. Who is that guy?
Barabasi, maybe?
No. Okay, difficult. Last week we saw the photographs of all of them, and it's not bad. I'm gonna give 2 more chances, but okay, it's not.
A small word, I guess.
No. The name of the person.
Wow.
The name of the person.
Pretty difficult.
The name of that person.
Sí,
I know
what?
it's difficult, but let me. It's not Albert Barabasi. What other important people we talked about last session?
Maybe what?
Okay, who said what?
Carlos.
Carlos, excellent. You have a visual ability. Okay, it's not easy to see that this is very okay. It's Duncan Watts. It's not an important thing. Okay, but okay. I guess I'm going to put the captions. Let me put the video, and you tell me, please, if the video is with good sound.
Nature has a hidden blueprint, a structure that...
It's good sound?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so we are going to start to see it now. Okay?
Nature has a hidden blueprint, a structure that connects us all.
This to me is a beautiful thing. The unity of nature, that's something you can learn in physics, has the same mathematical description as the oscillations of a love affair, the ups and downs of a romantic relationship. The same formulas.
No matter where we live or what we do, we all tend to know people very much like ourselves. We're clustered into closed circles, locked within our own social networks.
This is the paradox at the heart of the small world problem, that the world is simultaneously very small, with everyone only a few steps from everyone else, and yet very clustered. And so we just started to play around. It was pure mathematics, fun and games, where a network is thought of as points connected by lines. And then asking whether they would have the property of being a small world, meaning that everyone is only a few hops away from everyone else in the network.
Watts began with a thought game, a mathematical model.
Imagine we have a crowd in a soccer stadium.
And now imagine that you're trying to do the experiment of getting a message from this part of the stadium to the farthest remote part of the stadium.
And the only way that we can get a message is to talk to the person next to us, right? And then that person has to talk to the person next to them.
It's going to take a very long time for the message to get from there to there.
Now, if I give the person on the other side of the soccer stadium a walkie-talkie and I have the other one, we can communicate immediately. Clearly, our path length has shrunk because now the person next to me can communicate with the person on the other side of the stadium simply by asking me to put a call in. All of a sudden, a whole group of people in my local neighborhood can connect to a whole group of people on the other side of the stadium in many, many fewer steps than they could before this one link came into existence.
Just a single random link has an enormous effect. And add just a few more links, and distance in the stadium has all but disappeared.
The world doesn't gradually get smaller, it drops off a cliff.
Here was a model that could make a big world small.
How can a population of dissimilar individuals suddenly synchronize?
How do fireflies flash in unison across great distances, or crickets chirp as one? How does order emerge from chaos?
We're so used to thinking that if there's a group following acting in concert, it's because there's a conductor for the orchestra. But that's not necessarily so. There's 100 billion brain cells acting like the most complicated thing in the universe. And there's no cell that is the master conductor of the brain. The brain does it as a group. The heart has 10,000 pacemaker cells that tell the rest of the heart when to beat. Who's in charge? Who's the pacemaker for the pacemaker? Nobody. It's been described as the world's largest machine.
America's massive power grid.
So it was a kind of an organism that grew itself.
The grid is the result of thousands of random events, as new generators and cables were added to meet the growing demands of America's industry and population.
We found that it too was a small world, that even though it had 5,000 power plants over half a continent of area, it only took a very few hops to get from any one to any other.
We thought, okay, let's be ambitious here. Let's think about, completely different kinds of networks. So not networks that are social networks, not networks that involve people at all, something that comes from biology, something that's totally different.
There's a certain worm called C. elegans. They've mapped every cell and they know how every cell in its nervous system is connected. We were able to get a hold of the data, and when we analyzed that, it too was a small world.
We found the same kind of result, short path lengths, high clustering.
While Strogatz and Watts were pioneering small worlds, another scientist would look at the problem from a different angle. For Hungarian physicist Laszlo Barabási, understanding networks held the promise of predicting the future. It was the early 90s, and the World Wide Web was exploding in popularity. Here was a huge network he could map by tracing the links between web pages. No one directed the growth of the web. Anyone could put up a site and link to wherever they liked. So the expectation was that the structure would be entirely random. In a bell curve, there are few extremes. Most web pages would be grouped in the middle, having the same number of links. But what he discovered was different. The web links were not evenly spread. Most pages had very few links, but there were some with a huge number of connections. This was no random world. It seemed to have an organizing principle based around hubs. In these early days of the web, long before the familiar supersites of today had emerged, Barabáshi's study had glimpsed the future.
It predicted the potential for the existence of huge hubs, like Amazon and Google and Yahoo turned out to be.
Barabáshi's hunch was that behind this pattern, there may be a deeper truth lurking. Finding hubs was a major breakthrough. It suggested that networks didn't just grow accidentally. They evolved according to some pattern. And if so, hubs should be everywhere. And sure enough, Barabáshi found hub networks in transportation routes, in computer chips, and within the human cell.
I kept thinking, how is it possible? Because they cannot be more different in the scope, in the mate, and their nature. More I thought about it, more I realized that there must be a simple explanation for that, because these are such a different systems that the only way they could be similar to each other is that there is one simple law that describes the structure of all of them.
And he discovered that simple equation that describes our complex interconnected world.
Pk equal k to the minus gamma. That is the formula.
Barabáshi's equation not only showed that hubs were inevitable, it can also predict the number of hubs in any given network. Here was the secret behind almost every network, the structure that nature uses to spin its webs. And once it could be seen, It revealed networks have peculiar strengths and weaknesses, with implications for all of us.
There are hundreds and thousands and potentially millions of errors in my cell, and yet I don't even notice. The internet can work even when hundreds of its routers are not functional. If you remove the small nodes, it does not matter. The network will shrink, but will not fall apart. But there is a price you pay for this extreme robustness. If you remove the hubs, the system will fall apart.
We live in a connected world. Networks dominate our economy, our environment, and our society. Our health depends on them, and yet we barely notice their presence. Through random links or hubs, the world is made small, allowing everything to travel far and fast on the network. This can be good news or totally devastating. It depends on what's spreading on the network. In 2000, a virus, the I love you bug, took just hours to spread through the world's computer networks.
And penetrated the CIA, the Pentagon, and the Houses of Parliament.
One of the scientists tracking the virus was physicist Alessandro Vespignani. He was puzzled by its rapid spread and by its resilience. Even though software to kill the bug was released within a day, it survived for months.
Japan came back from a week-long holiday to find a love bug still lurking in many people's computers.
The quicker is the disease at the beginning, and the quicker it should die out from the system. And actually, this was not the case.
Like many scientists, Vespignani assumed that viruses spread at random.
We were, trying a few things, and actually something at a certain point I was struck by a paper.
It was Barabashi's study, showing the internet had a predictable structure.
When I saw that image of the internet, I thought that that was the pattern that I had to include in the model in order to get a realistic description of what was happening with computer viruses.
A virus used network structure to spread unstoppably through the hubs and hide in the far reaches on the net. And as Vespignani learned, this had alarming implications far beyond the internet.
I got a question. These results would apply to human sexually transmitted diseases. Well, no way. It was clearly not applicable in my mind because the internet is different from the web of sexual relation. I was wrong.
A Swedish study of sexual behavior showed most people had only a few partners, but a handful had hundreds. The web of sexual relations looked exactly like the internet. It was dominated by a few hubs. And just like I love you, this meant that if a virus entered the network, it would be almost impossible to remove.
So suddenly, from one day to another, what we were doing in the computer virus area was important for human diseases.
Vespignani's research helps us to understand the resilience of HIV. Despite 2 decades and billions of dollars in prevention programs, the virus is entering an explosive new era of growth. Vespignani's group is now modeling the intersection of global transport networks and disease. They can predict the spread of a new flu virus. Airline networks are dominated by a few major airports. Once an infected person passes through one of these hubs, the virus will be unstoppable. But Vespignani's research also offers a solution. To avoid a global catastrophe, he believes nations must share their stocks of precious antivirals.
What you find is that it's beneficial to the entire world and to each country to share antivirals, to be cooperative and not to be selfish. We form a global network, and whatever we do is going to reverberate across the network and have important implications at the global level.
Mark Vidal is a geneticist. He's creating the first roadmap of the human cell to understand the origins of disease.
Imagine if we try to understand traffic in a city without having any maps, without having any idea of how interconnected the different roads are.
Cells are the building blocks of life and hold the genes that determine our development. Those genetic instructions are carried out by thousands of different proteins.
The proteins are the little tools, the parts of the cell. They don't work in isolation. They interact with each other.
In Vidal's bustling cellular city, proteins are like people, constantly on the move and communicating with one another. Vidal believes that if he could produce a map, then potentially he could locate breakdowns in the system that cause disease. Diseases like cancer.
I devoted my life to trying to understand the interconnectivity between genes. The vast majority of biologists would have thought that even if we had a good quality map of the wiring diagram of the cell, not much really interesting would emerge out of it.
Vidal's theory may have come to nothing had there not been another fortunate coincidence. He stumbled upon the work of another scientist, Barabashi's paper describing a universal law in networks.
And this really was an eye-opener. What became immediately obvious to me when I opened that magazine, it would be incredible if we could actually use it in the context of cellular networks and try to use similar models to explain human disease.
Seeing disease as a network means it's no longer just about biology. It's become a maths problem. And this offers entirely new ways of dealing with disease that are so promising. Laszlo Barabashi has joined forces with Vidal to explore the potential.
One day, Laszlo came to my office all excited, saying, what if we looked at all the connections at the same time for all diseases and all genes involved in diseases?
The result is the most remarkable network map of all. It shows connections between every known human disease. We can now see how diseases are linked by the genes they have in common.
The network that came out of this analysis had absolutely incredible properties. For one thing, in many diseases, we still don't know all the genes that are involved in those diseases. Breast cancer is one example of that.
We only know of 4 genes which cause the disease, and these make up just 10% of all cases of breast cancer.
When we have a map like this one, it seems to make a lot of sense to go for the neighbors of the known characters in the story. If we didn't have a map like this, we would go blindly, basically. We would have no way to guide the new research to try to fill those 90% of cases where we still don't understand the molecular aspects of breast cancer.
From urban myth to maths equation to a daring new approach to fighting disease. This is the promise of network science, a new way of seeing our world.
¿Qué tan grande se siente la amortiguación?
Okay, guys, are you listening me?
Yes, very nice video indeed.
Oh, excellent, excellent video, and very clear video, I guess. I don't know if there's questions.
Question, comments.
Commentaries.
Daniela, do you have a question?
No, teacher. It was really interesting, though. Actually, we did our work, our mini project in that subject.
Excuse me, Daniela?
I was saying that at the end he was talking about a network based on pathologies, right? On breast cancer.
Okay.
And
Okay,
that was
okay, Daniela and the rest of the students. That beautiful network that Barabasi and Vidal chose in colors, you saw it? Yes?
yes.
It's in the web page. That network is in the web page. I invite you to search. There is a link to. Okay, let me show you that this.
Carlos has a question as well.
Okay.
Yes, teacher, only an opinion about the video. I
Yes.
found it interesting as well. And I think that it's interesting the idea about the resilience of the virus, for instance, because usually we talk about the resilience of a network, okay? But it's surprising to think that maybe the problems or the viruses might be also resilience. I found this idea really powerful and interesting. That's just the comment.
Okay, let me complement your comment. Yes, yes. Resilience is a near universal property of networks. All the small world networks has resilience. Remember what Strogatz said. Strogatz and Barabasi said that our organisms made hundreds, thousands of mistakes, but we don't notice that, and this is because the organism, the cells, the body, it's a very resilient network, I guess, very resilient network, and this property of resilience is it's applied in different contexts, and it's a very central concept of not only of network science of complex systems. Okay, we're going far away now. We're going a little bit broader than network science into complex systems. Okay, this Barabasi discovered that scale-free networks, preferential networks, are very resilient to random attacks. But there's another side of the coin, and he said it. But they are very fragile, very fragile. See here, if you attack the house, so there's no complete. There's no. There are two flips of the coin. Okay, two flips of the coin. If you attack a network like this, in this is a good example. Randomly, you are going to destroy these nodes. A lot of nodes of these don't do harm to the network if it's a random attack. But if it's a deliberate attack, for example, a hacker has a deliberate attack, and you attack the hubs, you destroy very rapidly the connection, the connectivity of the network. So there's two sides of the story. Okay, I don't know if there's any more questions. Here in the web page in data sets, I guess here in biological networks, I'm not sure. Okay, human disease network. Look at here. Human disease network, 516 nodes, 100. This is the network that was showed at the end of the video. That beautiful, colorful network. Okay, here it is. If you want to play with the network. Okay, any more questions? Okay, guys, this video is a very good summary of what we have seen. I want to say a little one more thing about the video and no more. In the video, someone said we have to see diseases as a network, because if we don't see diseases as a network, we cannot understand it. Okay. Mark Vidal, the scientist, Mark Vidal said put a very good metaphor. If you are investigating the roads of a city, but you don't know the connection between the roads, it's very difficult to investigate, to research on the traffic. Okay, that problem existed before in biology because proteins were treated as isolated, but now there are networks that connect the proteins, and that gives a very important pull to the research of proteins, of biology. But before 216, 250, that network that they show us, was built recently. Okay, and it was a very important point in the history of network science when that network was built. Okay. Okay. One last thing, the comparison when Watson and Strogatz were in the video, we're talking about small words. I don't know if you saw a very good comparison, a very good example of how to build a small world network. It was the stadium. Okay. The stadium and there was one person in one side of the stadium, in one of the other, and the paths are very long. But if you have a walkie-talkie, yes, you could connect them. And this for me is a very good example of the discovery that Watts and Strogatz made of the small world networks. Very well exemplified by the stadium. Okay. Okay. Okay, we're going to stop talking about network models, and we are going to begin. I don't know if you are seeing. Are you seeing my presentation, guys?
No, Profe. Not
No.
yet.
No. Okay. Thank you. I guess you were not seeing. Okay. I'm going to. Okay. Now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Diffusion in networks. It's a very broad theme of network science. A very central. Okay. We are going to begin talking about dynamic networks. Until today, we view the networks as static, okay? This static, no movement. Centralities, global measures, diameter, etc., okay? But the network was static, do not change in time, okay? We are going to begin talking about dynamic networks that change with time, okay? Is this clear? Okay. There are several different classes of dynamic network models. I guess there are two principal classes of dynamic network models. The first one are the models for dynamics on networks. On. It's important, the word dynamics on networks. Okay. These models are the most natural extension of traditional dynamical system models. They consider how the states of components or nodes, the nodes have states. For example, in a disease, a sick person, a recovered person, they have states. Is this clear? Or nodes, they consider how the states of components or nodes change over time through their interactions with other nodes that are connected to them. Okay, so here, if I play this video, you are going to see a dynamic network, a very simple dynamic network. Here, there's something going on in the nodes of the network. The networks have states, different, states. Okay. I guess blue is not infected and red is infected, or blue is I do not have the information, the rumor, and red I have the information. Okay. This is one type of dynamic network. I don't know if it's clear what is a model of dynamics on networks, or if there is any question. Okay, let's go. The second model is dynamics of networks, not on, but of networks. These are the models that consider dynamical changes of network topology itself over time for various purposes, to understand mechanisms that bring particular network topologies, to evaluate robustness and vulnerability, it's very important, of networks, to design procedures for improving certain properties of networks. Let me show you an example of this type of network. I guess I have to do 2 clicks here, and there's a video. We are going to see a video, and you are going to tell me what is this video, okay? Wait a second. I don't know how to put it. Okay, okay. Are you ready, guys? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, look. What are you seeing, please? I want that you tell me what are you seeing.
It's network connect with others.
Yes. It's how the nodes change their edges.
The topology of the network changes, okay?
Yeah.
The links disappear. In the previous example, dynamics on networks, the links do not change. Here, the links are changing. But what are we seeing? This is a social network or a biological network, guys?
It's a social network. It's like how they relate in the day, in different time of the day.
Yes. And the nodes, and what are the nodes, please tell me?
Look like students, like children.
Children, okay, first grade, second grade. This is one typical day of a group of students in a school, in a primary school, look, from first grade to fifth grade. They are in class, they go to, Luis Fernando, how do you say recreo? I don't know how to say. They go to
break, on a break.
Okay, they go to break. They go to eat the potato sandwiches, and they return. Here they are concentrated in a mathematics course, or in a physics course, or in a humanities history. Okay, this is another type of dynamics. Okay, this is new. The network scientists are beginning to build methodologies to study these networks. It's a very new theme. It's a very important theme, okay? Let me show you another example. I guess we have seen this example before. I don't know. I'm going to put it here. Let me put a little bigger. Okay, tell me. What are you seeing, guys? Hmm? Persons?
Fly.
Fireflies? This was the problem. Okay, look. This is a network that also the links changes. This link existed and disappeared. The fireflies are moving. This is a toy model, but the serious models of these fireflies were studied by Watson Strogat. Watson Strogat studied before discovering the small world model, an important scientific topic that is synchrony, how these fireflies are synchronized. So the problem of synchronization is a very important problem, and network science has to do with that problem. But I show you this as an example of a model of dynamics of networks, okay? I don't know if there are questions. No? Okay. Examples of dynamic networks, but okay, here we have the one network that I guess was studied by Mark Vidal and Barabasi of genes and proteins. These are changing, nodes are changing, links are changing, okay? When there's a disease, what is the effect of a drug? A drug attack these connections and eliminate some connections, and eliminating connection of this network has as a consequence that we pass from being sick to being healed, okay? A very dynamic network that is studied by biologists, by ecologists. We have seen this network before. It's a network of ecological interactions between species, predator-prey, okay? Diseases this is the most important and the most big research. Diseases. Social networks also. Social networks change every time. You are friend of someone and the next day you are not friend. We have studied this statically, but I guess all networks are dynamic, okay? But it's very important to study static networks, okay? It's very important. And we have done this for 4 or 5 weeks, okay? Okay, let's look to the problem of diffusion. Diffusion. There are a lot of types of diffusion. We can diffuse a disease, a rumor, electricity is diffused in a power grid. There are a lot of things that are diffused in a network. What are important parameters? I choose 5 important parameters that we have to study when we study diffusion of networks. First, seeds of the diffusion. For example, if you are going to start a rumor in a social network, what person do you tell first the rumor? To a person with a lot of friends, to a person who is a breach of the network, etc. in that case, it's very important to know about centralities, because centralities give you the possible seats of the diffusion, the one with most between centrality, the one with most degree, etc. Okay? Second, and it's very important, type of diffusion. There are a lot of types of diffusions. I mentioned here the three most important, but there are 5, 6, 10. Simple diffusion. We're going to see this in a minute, in 10, 15 minutes. Complex diffusion, cascades. Okay. Objectives of the diffusion. Sometimes you want to maximize diffusion. When there's a rumor. But sometimes you want to minimize the diffusion. When there's a disease. And sometimes you want to prevent the diffusion. Okay? So there are different objectives of the diffusion. The type of network is important. It's different. It's very different if you diffuse an information in a small world or in a random or in a scale-free network, because these networks have different properties. So different properties of these network models give rise to different behavior in the diffusion of the network. Okay? And the last important topic that has to do with the video we have just saw is what happens with failures or attacks to a network. We are diffusing something, but there could be a failure in the network or attacking the network, and that affects the diffusion. Okay? Okay. I don't know if there's any question. There are more parameters, but I guess these are the most important. Okay, I'm going to tell you about an open problem. It's a very interesting problem. It's a problem that several researchers are investigating. For example, viral marketing. It's a very important topic today. Okay, viral marketing. How to design marketing strategies for that your products have a lot of sales and you gain money, for example, okay, or you gain prestige. One method of viral marketing involves seeding certain consumers within a population to encourage faster adoption of the product throughout the entire population. So this is an open problem. Which customers do you need to encourage, to seed, to begin the diffusion of your product, for that there's a faster adoption of the product? This depends on the type of network. It depends on the product you are selling, on various factors. Okay, there is not a general, a universal solution to this. For several products, there's a strategy but researchers are trying to find general laws for this diffusion. And I hope in the future there is this problem is more research, and there are good solutions to this open problem. However, determining how many and which consumers within a particular social network should be seeded to maximize adoption is challenging. Okay. Here is an article, a very good article that discusses this open problem, gives a partial solution to the problem. Okay. Okay. What are we going to what topics are we going to study in diffusion? First, biological diffusion is the first. Historically, what the first is a very well-known discipline, epidemiology. Later, we are going to be social diffusions, rumors, virality. We are going to discover that there's a difference between this, a very important difference between these two types of diffusion. Vulnerability, in particular power grids, and this opinion dynamics. This have to do with, if you have the network, how different opinions of people in the network can converge to a joint opinion. For example, to put an actual example, in the Senate here in Colombia, it's reforma laboral. It's being discussed, okay, and we have a network of people who have to, after I don't know what time, have the same opinion, or more or less the same opinion, for that reforma laboral to be a law of Colombia, okay? This opinion dynamics is a very important and a very big issue in diffusion on networks, okay? Okay, I guess we are going to begin with epidemics, but I guess it's 7:16, and we are near our break, okay? So I don't know if there's any questions. When we return from the break, we're going to begin with biological diffusion with some models, and we are going to talk about this, but after the break. I don't know if there are questions.
No, teacher.
Okay, Elkin. No numbers, Elkin. No numbers in these slides, okay? Few numbers. Elkin? Okay.
Excuse me?
No equations, no numbers, no figures, so it's just going to be drawings, I guess, and talking concepts. Elke.
Teacher, I have it's more like a curiosity question.
Okay.
Seeing the network of the Telegram or the protein, how is the label or the market, the nodes in a very little seres vivos in the little context, or I'm not sure how is the data science to mark the or to make the notes in an or a little biologist organism.
Okay. If I understood the question, you correct me, Lina, please. Has to do with how that network was constructed?
Yes, in a little.
I'm gonna tell you the story.
Yeah, the worm, the C. elegans.
Yes, in the world, yes.
Okay,
so
first.
The people mark or see the behavior to make the notes.
This was also an historic achievement of network science. I'm going to tell you briefly, in 1 or 2 minutes, the story. First, Lina and the rest of the students. C. elegans is a 1 millimeter worm. Okay, it's a very small animal, 1 millimeter. Okay, Lina. It is transparent, okay? It's transparent. The worm C. elegans appears nearly in every part of the globe, of the world. Very small, 1 millimeter, transparent. The transparency of the worm was the cause or was the motive that scientists want to decipher the brain of that worm, because it was transparent, okay? They began with microscopes they capture a lot of worms and they cut it. They cut it in sections with knives, okay? And with Microsoft, they try to know how many neurons it has, okay? It was a 13-year, 13 años, 13-year research of 3 researchers. After those 13 years, they publish a paper with the network, with the network of Selegans. Later on, I guess 1 or 2 years later, listen to me, those 3 researchers won the Nobel Prize of Medicine, I guess in 2013, 2014. I have the information, I have the detailed information of how the details of how they investigate because it was a very important research, not only for network science, guys, but for biology. It was the first brain that was completely deciphered, completely known of an animal, the first brain. I guess today there's information about cat brains, nearly complete, about other brains a little bit bigger, but Seligman's was the first brain that was completely deciphered, completely constructed, reconstructed. I don't know if you understand.
Yes, teacher, for this, that's because sounds like a big challenge.
A big challenge. And I'm going to tell you another thing, Lina and the rest of the students. Watson struggles when they were finding networks to prove or to train their model of small world networks. One of the first networks that they choose was Selegans. And they were surprised when they discovered that Selegans was a small world network. In the video we saw a half hour ago, Promise of Network Science, they talk about that one of the networks that they use to prove or to see if his model was correct was this Selegans network, okay? Okay. Okay, Luis Fernando, I guess I have let's have the break now, I guess. And
Yes, that would be nice if we could like have access to the paper, just
yes.
to answer the Lina's question. And it's very nice will be nice to know, to read, to have access to the paper. Okay, so yeah, it's 7:23, so 7:38 we'll meet again.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, we're back. Is everybody back? Okay, we'll continue. By the way, I look for the paper, by the way, about the C. elegans and the Nobel Prize. Professor, are you back?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay, let me show you. I found the book. I found the book where the elegance information is found. So let me show you. Let me show you. I'm gonna share my screen. I guess one moment here. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, now we are.
Okay.
Yes.
This is, oh, sorry. This is, okay, this is a book. This is a classic book of neuroscience. Is the principal author is called Vito Latora. He's from Italy. Italy has a lot of researchers in neuroscience. For example, in the video we saw before the break, there was Vespignani, yes, a neuroscientist called Vespignani, that talk about the computer virus. You remember, okay? It's a very important researcher in neuroscience. Vito Latora is another. Let me show you. Okay. Vito Latora. He's professor in Queen Mary University of London. Okay. There are other authors. I guess the three authors are from Italy. Okay. But let me show you. Let me show you the. Okay. For example, this is the important thing. I was wrong in the date. It's 1972. Okay. It's 1972. Okay. Sidney Brenner. Sidney Brenner. He won the Nobel Prize with a biologist then at Cambridge University decided to work out the connections of every cell in the nervous system of the elegans. Yes? The complete name of elegans, okay, Xenorhabilitis elegans, okay? 1 millimeter long, transparent, free-living soilworm, okay? Free-living soilworm, lives in the soil. Is of the, I don't know much biology, I don't know if there's a biologist here, nematode family. I guess this is an important family of worms. Okay, here is a summary of what they did. Look, for example, Brenner and his team embedded the worms in blocks of plastic, cut the blocks into thin slices, and then examine each slice through a transmission electron microscope. That was the technique, the methodology they used to decipherate or to construct the network of the brain of the worm. Okay. Okay. Okay, I was wrong. I was wrong. It was not 13 years, sorry. 14 years. Okay. Very near. Over the course of 14 painstaking years, the team managed to map the complete, okay, the complete nervous system of the cylinder. A work for which Brenner won a Nobel Prize in I was wrong in the date again, 2002, 21 years ago, okay? Okay. Let me show you another thing before continuing. Uh, are you seeing this network?
Yes.
Who could tell me what is this network? I'm going to give you a hint. We talked about this network before break. Do you see here? Up? What is this word, please? Someone help me?
Disease.
Diseasome. Diseasome is the network of diseases. How human diseases are connected. The wonderful network that Barabasi and Mark Vidal construct. We have it here. We could also play and investigate this network. I guess.
Jonathan has a question, I guess, to comment.
Okay, and here are the names of the diseases.
But these are only I don't the word infectious diseases or diseases in general.
In general, cancer, flu. I guess these are okay. Let me 516 diseases. These are not all the diseases of human diseases. I don't know. I don't know if any one of you has the information of how many diseases there are in human today. I don't know, but more than 500. Okay, more than 500 diseases connected. Okay, not Nobel Prize, but a very important network. Okay, let's continue with our presentation. Okay. Epidemics. Let's begin with epidemics.
Professor, can you go back to the previous network? I guess a Jonathan question may be answered by saying what is each node? What does it represent? Each one of the nodes in the network.
Each node is a disease. Flu, cancer, herpes. I'm not biologist, but they okay.
But in this case, it is each disease is relate with other. How is this relation? A person
An
that
excellent question. Who is asking that question?
Jonathan.
Jonathan, an excellent question. I invite you to investigate that. It's not difficult. If you go to ChatGPT or something like that, it's what are the links? This disease and this disease are linked. Why? Friends? These diseases are friend diseases, okay, but what is the exact relation? In the video, they tell. In the video, if you see the video again, Jonathan, and that last part you see it very slowly, you are going to discover what are the links.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. 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 Guys, the first mathematical approach to the spread of a disease was made by a famous mathematician called Daniel Bernoulli. I don't know if you know the Bernoulli brothers, famous mathematicians from France in 1760. Okay? Epidemic models lie at the core of our understanding about infectious diseases. These epidemic models are very important. The main objective of Bernoulli was to calculate the gain in life expectancy at birth if smallpox were to be eliminated as a cause of death. Translation of smallpox in Spanish, please.
¿Viruela? ¿Varicela?
Viruela. Okay, viruela, smallpox, viruela. This is very important, guys. Experimenting in vivo epidemics is not a viable option. It's impossible to do. We cannot experiment with people epidemics, okay? So there has to be a modeling approach. There's no other way. So modeling approaches have been the main resort to compare and test theories about how a disease is diffused, okay? Okay. Classic work, if you have time, if you are interested in biology, I invite you to this book is in the bibliography of in the webpage. Classic book where the modern mathematical modeling of infectious diseases began. Okay? But this 1992 is the Bible, okay? The Bible of infectious diseases. Anderson and May. Okay. The epidemic model has been used to introduce a wide array of different phenomena. The epidemic models has been extrapolated to social contagion, to antisocial behavior. So this epidemic modeling is not only for diseases. Some authors have extrapolated this and use these models, these epidemic models, to investigate social matters, okay? Because of that, an author called Malcolm Gladwell, I don't know if this is a very famous book, it was bestseller in 2000. I don't know if some of you have read the book, Malcolm Gladwell. It's called The Tipping Point. The Tipping Point. I don't know if any one of you have read the book. One of the famous phrases in that book is this: ideas and products and messages and behaviors spread like viruses do. Okay. The spread of information, cultural norms, social behavior can be considered a model as a contagion process. This was in 2000. A dramatic example of a contagious process is this. This happened in 2003. I don't know, I guess you were very young but this was a famous blackout in the United States. Here at the left is before the blackout, a lot of lights in the eastern coast of the United States, Long Island, Boston. And this 5 hours after the blackout. Okay. This was a very contagious phenomenon. Okay. This is called in the technical terminology of these blackouts are cascades, no? Cascades. How blackouts spread on a nationwide scale? or how efficiently memes can spread on social networks are all phenomena whose mathematical description relies on models akin to classical. Memes. Here are two good memes. I invite you to read it, and you want to laugh, you could laugh. Okay. Okay. In summary, epidemic modeling is a research field that crosses different disciplines and has developed a wide variety of approaches, ranging from simple explanatory models to very elaborate stochastic methods. Okay. Here are some famous that we're going to see in a moment, I guess. Famous epidemic models. Okay, but let's look what is happening today because it is very important. Guys, today, in recent years, we are witnessing a second golden age in epidemic modeling. A second golden age, okay? Why? I guess you know why. Real world accuracy of the model used in epidemiology has been considerably improved by the integration of large-scale data sets. And I complement with the integration of technology, okay? A new way of viewing epidemics, perhaps not mathematically, not theoretically, but computationally, okay? Simulation. We are in the world of simulations. And NetDogo is an example. And the explicit simulation of entire populations down to the scale of single individuals. Obviously, NetLogo, this type of simulation are toy simulations. There are software, AnyLogic is a software that to simulate very big epidemic process, very big processes, etc. It's a very active research area, okay? A very active research area. Mathematical models have evolved into micro-simulation models that can be computational implemented by keeping track of billions, okay? Billions of individuals, okay? This is new. I have not much information about this, but I know that it's happening. I know that it's changing the way we view. For example, COVID was mitigated in a very short time compared to other epidemics, and perhaps the next, if there exists a next global epidemic, it's going to be in months. I guess I don't know. That could be mitigated. Today in Europe, for example, countries are studying what were the consequences of the COVID, how it began, how it arrives to Italy first, etc. And they are trying to investigate that for that the next epidemics is not going to be so hard to us, okay? These models have gained importance in the public health domain, very important, in the public health domain, especially in infectious disease epidemiology by providing quantitative analysis in support of policy-making processes, vaccination, etc. Very, very important advances in this area, okay? At the core of all data-driven modeling approaches lies the structure of human interactions, mobility and context patterns that facilitate representation in the form of data. This is an important point. Guys, celulares are a very important tool for epidemics. If people in a country, for example, allow a government like Colombia to access the information of each cell in the country, not for good purposes, for knowing where the people are, it could be a very important tool to eradicate epidemics and eradicate diseases. I don't know if it's clear what I just said. Yes, it's clear? But it is very difficult because people say, oh no, I have important information in my cell phone. I'm not going to allow that the government or know where I am because this is private, etc. And there's a debate about that. Epidemiologists need to know where the person are located, what are they doing for purposes of an outbreak, of an epidemic, of course. But people say, no, the information in my cell phones, I'm not going to share it with the government, etc., etc. I don't know if it's clear. It's an important debate today. Okay? Cell phone. Okay, I guess I could. Let me show you, if I have time, let me in 5 or 10 minutes that remains from this presentation, I'm going to show you some classic and important models. Okay, Elkin, look, here are formulas. Elkin, you saw here these beautiful formulas?
Yes.
Beautiful formulas. This is the most simple model. 2 states in the person, susceptible to an illness and infected. It's called the SI model, susceptible infected model. Let's see this model in NetLogo. It's the most simple, but one of the most important models, epidemic model. Okay. I'm going to show this model not in a network, but in space, okay? In a geographic space. But you could adapt it to networks because I guess it's better to show it like that. Look. How many persons? 1,000. Okay? How many persons infected? Guys?
One.
One, look, one.
Easy to count.
I don't know if I could do, let me watch. I'm gonna use this, okay. Look, we could watch. Okay. In very short time, all people get infected. How the people get infected? By proximity, okay? By proximity. And there's a probability. Here's the probability alpha. 52% said that if a susceptible person, an infected person is near a susceptible person, there's 52% of probability that the susceptible gets infected. Very simple model. Look, This is typical of this model. This is called a logistic curve. It corresponds to a very intuitive, a very understandable way of explaining how in time this infection is developed. First is slow, because there are few persons infected, but there's a moment when enough persons are infected and the infection spread exponentially, okay? Exponentially. But when there are a lot of people infected, there are very few susceptible to infect. So this is slow down again. This is a typical, I guess you all know, logistic curve. This, you can for the mathematicians and the, well, I am a mathematician. For the person interested in details, if you found a solution of this differential equation, pair of differential equations, differential equation, you are going to discover that the solution, the formula of the solution, corresponds to a logistic formula, okay? It's a very simple model. Why, guys? Because a susceptible person gets infected, and this infected is not cured, is not returning to being susceptible again. But there are, I don't know if you know, an illness. For example, flu is not like that, because flu, you drink Tristan and you get here, okay? Any one of you know a disease that behaves like this? Okay, I'm going to show you the disease. I'm not expert in biology, but in medicine, but herpes. Herpes is a disease. Some type of herpes, when you acquire herpes, all your life, you are going to have herpes, okay? You are not to be susceptible again. Okay? There is a famous un dicho, a famous dicho of, I don't know say it in Spanish. El amor es temporal, pero el herpes es para siempre, okay? It's a kind of joke. It's a kind of joke to show that herpes is
it's very horrible.
Okay, it's not I guess people with herpes do not suffer very much. I have that information. For some kind of herpes, it's like having I don't know, like having a cicatriz. How do you say cicatriz?
Scar.
Having a scar. You have a scar for all your life, but the scar is not harmful. But some herpes, okay, some herpes are harmful. Okay, but this is a simple model. It's the first model. We're going to see three models. Let me show you the second model. This is the second model, CIS model. Okay, susceptible, infected, infected, susceptible again. A typical example of a disease is the flu, gripa, no? You Tristan, and again. And all your life you're having flu. Something typical of this model is endemic state. It's asymptotic. This is asymptotic. Okay. Depends on two parameters, mu and beta. Mu is the probability of infection, and beta is the probability of recuperation, of recovery, of recovery. And when you play with these two parameters, you get different curves, different types of infection. Okay, let me show you first a very beautiful model of how a CIS model is developed in a small well network. Look at that. Look. Okay. Yellow is infected. But the yellows convert to the other color, so they get susceptible again. Okay. And this is like the fireflies. Let me show it again. I guess it's like because no, not because of synchronization, but because that you off on off on off on. You go round and round and round. Okay. Okay. Let me show you the NetLogo model. Here we have the person. Here we have two parameters. Okay. Alpha of infection, beta of recovery. I guess. Okay. Let me. Okay. No, it's not working. Okay, you have to calibrate it a little bit. I want to show you. Let me put this a little bit. It's not easy to. Let's put. Help me, please. What I have to do for a nice curve of this one. Alpha. No. No, I'm going to put alpha under recuperation B. Okay, this is important what is happening. Anyhow, when you have beta greater than alpha, excuse me, when you have beta greater than alpha, this is important because the disease is eliminated, okay? Look, but if you augment this, I guess. Okay, yes? More or less, because alpha is greater than beta. When you have the division of alpha and beta, alpha divided by beta is a very important number in epidemics. It's called the, I don't know, it's called the reproduction number of the epidemics. It's a very important parameter. We are not going to talk much about that because it has to do more with epidemiology, but this is an important model. Depending on the combination of alpha and beta, the disease could grow or be eliminated. In this case, for example, look, this is the endemic state. It's asymptotic, okay, when it goes to infinity, okay, it's asymptotic, etc., etc. You could play with this one. This model, okay, I don't know if there's any question before presenting I guess the most important model. Okay. Let me show you the SEER model. Okay, these three states, three compartments. Susceptible compartment, infected, susceptible, infected, and recovered. Okay? This is typical. These are the differential equations. This is typical. The susceptible began and decay and arrive to zero. The infectious has a peak, typically. Infection, but the infection goes down. And finally, all people are recovered. Okay? I guess is the I guess is the most important, the most used model, the most used epidemiology model. I have here parameters. Let me show you, if I can show you. Okay, nice. Look, nice. We reproduce the graphics of the presentation. Susceptible, became, peak, the peak here, infected, and finally all are recovered. Okay? Easy differential equations. You could put this in Mathematica, in MATLAB, in Python, okay, and you solve it immediately. Okay, guys, the rest of the session, we are going to hear you talking about your mini projects. It's very important that we hear you. So we have nearly 45 minutes for that. So my job today is nearly finished. And Luis Fernando, please continue.
Okay, thank you. Well, actually, I what we are going to do is we're going to listen to you briefly to report because you heard so many. But let's make sure that I have the correct link here to your videos. And what we are going to do is we're going to listen to you, but we encourage you and everyone to go over the videos out of the class, out of this session, because that would take too long if we do it in our class today. So let's start with team number one. I guess I'll try to show maybe some of your pieces of your videos. Oh, wait. Okay, let me just share the screen. So team number one, this is going to be Juan and Nicholas, right? Let me just share the screen. Juan, are you there? Nicholas? We will actually
hello, Professor. Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, to what you accomplished in this small project and what problems maybe you had. Okay, let me just share my screen. As you can speak as I show this, share the.
All right. Well, first of all, the original scope of the project was to replicate the paper we found that was about creating a network based on some tweets regarding a particular topic. We actually managed to do it to some extent, and the main problem that we found was related to changes to the API of Twitter, because well, the paper is from 2020 and the API has changed a lot since that year. We actually had to rewrite some portions of the code, most of the code really, to read the JSON notations of each tweet.
So as a summary, then how do you collect your data and what was your network?
The original paper provided us with a dataset. The dataset was mainly tweets IDs, so we had to rehydrate them. We used Twerk, a data tool, to get the rest of the information from the tweets. Now, with all the data from the tweets, we built like 3 categories: one for mentions of users, another one for replies or threads, and the last one for hashtags associated with the topic. Then we did some analysis, like the paper suggested. We built some graphs with the networks, and we found some interesting things with some metrics in those graphs.
Okay, so can you describe, for example, these networks here?
That one, for example, is for replies, right? So the topic that was selected was a particular show, an Australian show that happened in 2018. The show encouraged people to participate via social networks, via Twitter, for example. The graph that's shown in the left, the red one, is activity during the broadcast of the show, and the pink one, the one on the right, is activity the next day, the day after the show, right? The thing with the replies is that replies tend to occur more frequently during the show, but they tend to be brief discussions, like 2 or 3 replies. Probably the most interesting one we found was this one of hashtags, because during the show the number of hashtags that appeared was less than half the number of hashtags that appeared the next day. It's like the hashtag just arise or appear after the show is finished. Some hashtags start to appear and appear. You can see here the density of nodes is just higher in the blue one. That's the one that happened the day after.
Great. Okay, so anything that was missing, well, I mean, left to be done when you try to reproduce the paper?
Yes, actually, the paper started selecting various ways to collect the tweet IDs. We skipped that section because they reached the conclusion that 2 of the methods were not that good, to say it like that. So we straight up selected the Twark dataset, but there were other datasets. One that was with Rapid, another similar data tool, and other one that was an extended Rapid, if I don't remember.
Okay, very good, very good. Any comment, Professor? I think you did a nice job there.
Okay, nice job. It's a very important way to construct real networks. And Juan Esteban commented a real problem that exists in Twitter today. 2-3 years ago, it was very easy to extract networks from Twitter. Now it's nearly impossible. It's very difficult. There's no documentation. You get inscribed to Twitter, and in 2 or 3 months they respond you. So some researchers are doing constructing networks in Gmail or in other places, but Twitter today is not a very good place to construct real networks. But very good job, very good job.
Very good. Okay, so let's go to team number 2. Louis, Leonardo, Daniela, who wants to speak and explain what you did briefly?
Yes, teacher, here.
Go ahead.
So I'll give the first context. We work on a network based on pathologies, so the one that they were talking about in the video, where each node of the network is a gene. And the problem of this investigation was to try to minimize the number of external interventions that were needed to control or regulate the network. So here we try to look for the minimum set of nodes needed, and well, after that, I don't know if Luis or Eduardo want to continue.
Yes. Okay. Well, effectively, what we need was reaching. Okay, teacher, may you come back in the video so I can use this slide as a guide? A little earlier. The second slide. This one. Okay, as you can see there, Well, we are trying to reach some genes that are the target, or wait, that's the objective of the project, of the article. Reach some targets, some gene targets identified, but from the minimum or the smallest set possible of input genes. Please go further. In the article, what they do is optimizing this set. A little, there, in that point. Optimizing that sort, they do define a path length, and using several algorithms, they found an amount of input nodes that they can use to control the network. So at the end, they do assess the controllability. They are not getting only the set of nodes, but also assessing the controllability. They use several methodologies to optimize that set, the greedy algorithm and the genetic algorithm that they are proposing as a better way to find this set. We used an exhaustive search because we needed to get the best set possible to our computation. Now, like the size of our computers, right? Because these were very big data sets. The next slide, please. So what's the idea of controllability is because this one. You can see, for example, we have target 1, 2, and 3. Those are genes that are related with some disease. And we find the input nodes N1, N2, and N3. And you can see that we cannot, in any set possible, we can't control the T1, the target node 1. So, well, we need to, at the end, finding any data set, we need to assess the controllability of the network. Because in this case, these input nodes are not useful for the objective of controlling the targets T1, T2, and T3 as a whole. Only we can control T1 and T2, T2 and T3, sorry. So please, next slide. And this is the idea of controllability that we are talking in here. So there are several ways to assess the controllability of a network. This is one of them. This is the one that they use on the article, that is assessing the Kalman rank controllability. But we all did another thing that was assessing the controllability, reaching each of the target nodes with the input nodes directly. So, for example, in this network that we are showing here, we can control target X4 via X1. Okay, and that was the objective of our approach to this problem, because this controllability problem, assessing this controllability problem, can be very hard. The data sets, please, the back slide, so I can tell about the data sets before my partner continues, is that we have 11 samples of each of those networks. In the article, they use some real biological networks, but we didn't use them. We used these models, Small World, Erdos, Rangy, and Scale-Free, and well, the set of target nodes. Okay, so well, the next part, Luis can continue, please.
Yeah, here we can see the different network architectures that we work with, and in the next slide, in red we have target nodes, and the rest are the other nodes, and we can see that we want to reach those red nodes with some of the input nodes that are within a certain distance to the targets. And we make some metrics to understand the dataset, see the difference between each architecture, the things that we are seeing in class. And here we were able to see what are the input nodes that can reach a specific target nodes. And with the exhaustive search and some algorithm, we were able to assess controllability, guaranteeing that at least one input node can reach one output node. So there's one input for one output, so that make the network controllable. But there were some things that we were unable to reproduce on the last slide, and that's basically those are our results.
Okay. Any problems that you can share with everybody? Like, what was the main problem or challenges? Which one were the challenges in this?
Well, there were a lot of things that we couldn't reproduce because we have some example code on C#, but it was very hard to understand. Also, the generic algorithm that we tried to reproduce, we weren't able to do it, so we were for other paths to try to do something similar.
Okay, good. Okay, Professor, do you have any comment? By the way, team number 3, I think I don't have access to your video. Can you please give me access? Meanwhile, I guess we can go to team number 4.
Okay, let me a small commentary, Luis Fernando. This is the problem of controllability in networks nowadays is a very, very, very important problem. Albert Barabasi, from 8 years ago, has shifted his interest in not in biological networks, but now he's studying controllability. He chose, there's a very beautiful example that he says, look, if you have a car, you are driving a car, you need only 3 things for driving a car: steering wheel, brake, and acceleration. Those 3 elements control all the network of the car, all the elements of the car. And he says all complex systems, all networks must have few elements that control the rest. It's an open problem, and he's researching in that 8 years ago. It's a very, very important topic today in network science. Very, very interesting. Okay.
Yes, actually, control is one of the main areas of work in engineering. So control is and in controlling networks is very hard, right, Professor? So that's a nice work that you did.
Okay.
Okay, let's move to number 4. I still don't have access to the video of team 3, but let's move on. Team number 4, Manuel, Daniel, Laura. Who wants to explain what you did?
Hello, teacher.
Go ahead.
Well, our goals were mostly reproduce the graphs obtained in the paper. We want to explore the food pairing hypothesis that tells us that some kind of foods, the main ingredients share the same components, and it makes the food prepared is more delicious. So we wanted to reproduce the flavor network that they introduced. So first, we have our data. Please go back. Yes. No. Well, interestingly, Barabasi is in the authors of this paper. Then we have as dataset recipes that has the cuisine type and the ingredients as a list. There are many. There are 56,000 rows in this dataset. Please go ahead. We have also an ingredient and a relation. We have 2 tables: the ingredients data and the components data, and a table that relates these 2 tables. Then with this data, one can easily construct a bipartite graph that in which one is ingredients and the second are flavor compounds. And with this bipartite graph, one can construct the flavor network that is composed only with whose nodes are just ingredients, and they are related if they share some flavor compound. The weight of each link is the number of the flavor compounds it shares. As you could see, there were so many ingredients and flavor compounds, so the network was really big. In this case, it's just for two recipes, but I think our main problem here was try to construct the full flavor network with all ingredients of the dataset. Then that was our main. Then to visualize that, it was impossible, the full network, but we had backbone. We follow a backbone extraction to highlight the ingredients that were more connected. It wasn't in the paper, but we think it was interesting to investigate about the shortest path approach, because it says it shows us how some ingredients share the components and could be interesting for create, for example, new recipes and those.
Okay, good. Any comment, Professor?
Oh, well, it's also an important research area, and Barabasi it's also pioneer in this area. It's I don't have much information about flavor networks, but they're very interesting, and I research a lot. Okay.
Okay, good. So Darren, yes, then please do it. Yeah, because I don't have access to your video. Then see, so if you can share the video, and then as you speak, Darren, can you please do that? Team number 3. Darren, you there? Yeah, I was reading you, Darren. Are you ready? Or we can proceed with the team 5, and then you go next. Darren? Well, okay, let's move on to team number 5 then. And then get ready, Darren. Okay, so John Ricardo Nelson.
Hello, Professor.
Hello.
Here. We'll explain. So our subject was to analyze the land trade system with a network science approach. So if you want, you can. That's our goal. Explore and analyze the global land acquisition system with network science tools by replicating the case of study methods and data sets in order to identify economic tendencies on country relationships. So basically, we inspire ourselves in this case study from 2014. They used 2 data sets. We only could find one of the 2 data sets, because the other one we found some version, but it wasn't the same. So we need some extra information to filter some enterprises that make deals of lands to another countries. That's a little bit the subject. So we take the first data set that we were sure it was the same. We eliminate some. We could say we do some filtering in the information. We used the information about the hectares involved in the deals as well, not only the buyer and the seller country, but also the amount of land that was traded. So at first we tried to use NetLogo, but we had some issues with charging the data and displaying it properly. So we used Gephi, that works very, very well. Our approach was to first build the network, including the direction it was the directed graph. That's something different with respect to the article. We calculate the most important countries, taking into account the number of partners or number of nodes that they related to. We estimate some metrics, like we've seen in this course, some statistical metrics between the centrality, authority, and degree. And after we run the community detection algorithm that was programmed in Gephi, we made finally an analysis of the line trade orientation, the country's role. Here we can see, for example, the partners, the number of partners. We see a negative exponential trend because there is a lot of countries that have one partner or two, but it's rare to have a lot of partners. It's only, I think, the UK, China, and United States where they bought a lot of land to other countries, but in general, the poor, we've seen initially that the poor countries with largest territory sells land. We try to find relationship between the metrics. The best one we've got was the degree of the nodes of the countries in order to predict the authority, because authority is some sort of a measure that reflects the importance and the value of the information, some of the, in this case, the buying capacity of a country. We've got I think 72% of R square with the degree. That was the community detection outcome. We try to find some patterns here. The most noticeable one for us was to describe the size of the communities in terms of the eccentricity measure, meaning that the clusters were ordered in terms of their eccentricity or the difficulty to arrive to another node, the average number of steps, we could say, so we can say the larger the eccentricity, the sparser the net. So we found that as a pattern or trend. After after we try to replicate some graph in the left graph. It was in the paper, so we replicated. We haven't obtained the exact same result because we didn't use the second database, but in general we got similar results. So maybe the trends were very deep, and the richest countries bought land to the poorest countries, and that changes the same 20 first countries in terms of amount of transaction. When we take into account the hectares, that the order changes, but anyways the 20 countries remain in top. But
good. So as a conclusion, so I think you could accomplish a lot regarding the reproduction of reproducing the paper, right?
Yes, in general we could replicate the method, but we haven't obtained the same results because of the data. We couldn't find the exact data, and we changed a little bit the approach by taking into account the direction of the edges and the weights of the transactions, meaning the amount of of land, of hectares. So, but yes, in general, we found things similar to the article. For example, the North Hemisphere buys land, tend to buy land to the Southern Hemisphere.
Okay, good, Joan. Okay, Professor, any comment? And
I have three small questions.
Okay.
The first one, where is Colombia? Where is Colombia in the network? Is Colombia or not?
Yes, it's one of the poor countries that sells land to United States and China.
Okay. The second question is, you talk about eccentricity in the community. When you do community detection, the use of eccentricity was part of the article or was something that you decided to do?
We explore like what kind of metrics can relate directly to the communities.
Yes.
And the one that we found was that eccentricity was the best one.
Okay, it was part of the article of
No,
what?
no.
Okay, because it's very interesting that you research other articles or other things to discover eccentricity. Okay, and the last question is, you use R language. I saw you. I guess ggplot and for the graphics.
For some graphs, yes.
Okay, you are more fond of ggplot than of Python
Yes.
graphic libraries, I
Yes.
guess.
We are statisticians, so yes, we
Okay.
are more like ggplot.
In this aspect, we agree. I use a lot ggplot. I like very much ggplot. So very good. Okay.
Yeah, statisticians like use R a lot. Okay, good. Very good. Okay, so Jaron, are you there? Jaron?
Yes, Professor, we are here.
Can you share the screen then,
Yes,
please?
Professor.
I'm talking your team number 3.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I was talking about Dayron.
Yes, Darian was one.
Are you Darian in the same team?
Don't worry, don't worry.
Let me see number
I
3.
was sharing your screen.
Oh yes, Darian. Okay, sorry, my mistake. Okay, go ahead, please.
Come on. Okay, you're seeing my screen?
Yes, go ahead.
Well, we try to replace, to replicate the paper mapping USA government tobacco control and leaderships network resources. What is the goal of us is replicate the results of this paper, who analyze communication about tobacco control among officials of Department Health of Human Service. Why cases study? We try to understand how tobacco control efforts are coordinated across different agencies with Department of Human Service, and evaluate the communication between leaders in the each agencies related to tobacco control. How these agencies' communication between the agencies is critical to addressing tobacco use. The authors try to communicate the links between officials and leaders of 11 agencies. The authors use undirected network graph communication to use reconstruction to method manipulation of data. Data was processing for in PSC visualization program obtain network statistics and some statistics. The data set was was a table with 53 rows, 3 columns. Agents, the ID is the agent's subdivision identification number. The agency to switch its division allowed. Birth names is the acronym of the agency. The age, the Eagles table has 4,044 rows and 3 columns. This study uses social network analysis to evaluate communication and collaboration pattern among individuals and agencies involved in tobacco control activities in Department of Health and Human Service in the United States. The goal was to help agencies to communicate more effectively and ultimately reduce the tobacco use and refer health uses. We replicate the issue and use the same data set. In our investigation, we were able to determine the Central Disease Control and Prevention Agency, CDCP, is the most central network communication. We found the high cohesion communication between the members of the agency in each size also of members and high communication between them. In blue, we see the CDC agency, dark blue, and in pink, we see the in each members.
Good, good, Professor.
Okay, I guess that Darien and who else?
Darian, and let me see, the other one is
Yes, I'm here.
Stephanie. Stephanie, is Stephanie
Okay.
with you guys?
I
Stephanie is still in the class?
I don't know if the presentation is too short. I don't see
the networks
results. I don't see the network. I don't see analysis. I guess they are in the video. I don't know.
Here is the video. We have problems for the share this
Okay.
resource, but here is complete video. Okay. Sorry for the problems.
Okay, we are going to see the video, and if there's something missing or something, we communicate with you and with the group. Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you. Sorry.
For I don't see in the presentation any results. So okay, we're going to
Yeah,
see
we
the
need
video and we can talk about
networks.
okay.
Yeah, we need to see networks and figures and numbers as well.
Okay. Basic. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, what
Sorry,
about
thank
this
you.
one? Daniel and Johanna.
Yes, sir.
Oh, sorry.
Do I?
Sorry. Let me just share the screen because I stopped sharing.
Okay.
No, I just need to share a window. This one will be.
Okay. For the first, yeah. Well, the article that we tried to reproduce was about the dynamic of misinformation influence minimization in multi-group online social networks. This is basically the subject that we spoke about this whole class. It was about the spreading of misinformation through social networks, including not only direct contact between users, but also multi-groups like, for example, email chains or groups of Facebook groups or any other different kind of groups where people joins and may not be connected between each other in a direct fashion, but still get information and it's affected through its medium. Well, here's a little graph which presents a the dissemination process for a small network. Okay, that's from the paper. Next, we have okay. Well, this is the main focus of the. Yep, this is the main focus of the whole paper. It's how they present these novel models with not only including the acceptance of groups as a parameter, but also individual knowledge, as they report that for most cases, these kind of problems are seen from a pretty homogeneous way for all users, while in reality, persons have opinions and different aspects that make them more likely or less likely to receive or spread misinformation. Here we are the two main algorithms. The diffusion algorithm, which includes the network scheme including groups, which is the algorithm 1, and the second algorithm, which is another novel approach they do, which is an equilibrium opinion minimization, for which they search a top k nodes to stop the spread of misinformation after a certain delay time. Yeah, it takes a lot. Okay, here is the network that we worked on. In the paper, they work on 3 different networks. We chose the email networks as it's medium size in comparison to the other two. It has 1,005 nodes. It has 42 groups, and each node is affiliated exactly to one group, as in difference to the other datasets, with some nodes may be part of different groups. The diameter is 7, and the average path length is 2.65. Here it's interesting to note that there are some centrical nodes which are totally apart from the rest of the network, but they are connected through their groups. As there can see, some of them are in colors. And well, here in colors are the ones that are part of the biggest groups. The rest of them are all in gray. Okay, to test our developed diffusion model based on the paper, we first run a mini test on a little network, artificial network, in which we saw that the diffusion model works kind of in a way, in a certain fashion. Here is, for example, 2 different time steps of a same run, in which the nodes in red are negative nodes, the nodes in green are positive nodes, and the nodes in blue are changers, which are not one side or the other. Here, it spreads misinformation to 1, and 1 then is changed to blue, which means it changes state of opinion. Okay, here we perform some tests which are presented in the paper to try to compare the results. And here we start to see some serious issues regarding the delay time. As you can see, only the red one has a fashion similar to the proposed in the network. Thus, for starting and finish time, the number of negative nodes actually decreases. Okay, the second one here also shows an interesting experiment. In this one, they let the negative seeds spread across the network freely, but instead of watching it where they are positive or negative, they look up to where they have a certain attitude toward the information, where they are spreaders willing to spread, refusers who don't want it, or oysters in the middle. All refusers in green have a similar trend and here we have both 2 cases. On the upper one, it's a distribution of low knowledge throughout the network, and in the lower one, it's a case of high knowledge throughout the network. And here we see that the model, although it's kind of similar, it still has to be better. And the third test, it's one they did um, varying the number of initial positive spread seeds, which is the top K nodes in the x-axis, and the delay time. They presented in 3 graphs because they also compare their results to other search positive nodes algorithms. But we present our results in just one for the cases of 1, 3, 5, 10, and 20 and 30 positive nodes introduced. And once again, we see that the problem persists for delay times greater than 1. So yeah, there's a lot of work to do on this aspect for our developed model to actually reach the expected performance. And that was it. Thanks a lot.
Okay. This information influence. Professor?
Okay, a very good presentation. It's a very important topic in what we in the diffusion network that we were talking today. How misinformation is diffused in the network. It's very important today, and I guess that and Andrea and Daniel got investigated very well the article and very good results.
Thanks.
Okay. So, well, we didn't have enough time to finish everyone, but if you will give us a couple of minutes, maybe we can go with another one. And I guess we'll need to keep. Oh, sorry. I guess I'm having some problem with some of the links there.
Teacher,
Yes.
the link of video has in the chat. Sorry,
Oh, okay. But
it
let's
was a
move on to this
problem.
one. Yeah.
Yes.
But let's move on to this one. I'll copy afterwards. Team number 9, and then I guess we need to save the missing ones for the next session, Professor. Still, we're going to see the videos, and everybody can watch them too, and we're gonna give you a feedback. Okay, so Christian, Jimmy, Jater. Hello. Are you watching the video? Christian, Jimmy, are you there?
Hi, teacher. Yes, I am here.
Go ahead.
Well, we study an article about decentrality in affiliation networks. Well, the goal is to see what is the difference of the approach of this network. If we take this data set and compute the centrality measures, like trading. No, sorry. Well, using like the normal centralities applied to the networks, and also in networks, and is a special library in Python to apply these centralities in the like a bipartite network. So we create two different schemas or two different networks, and we in the left one we use the centralities like a normal network, and in the second one we use the centralities is like a bipartite network. As you can see, the nodes in the left and the right part of the second graph don't have edge between them. Only can have only are connection between the left ones to the right ones. And well, we compute the results. We see the centrality degree and the closeness centrality, and see that we apply the normal measures, the values are lower than we use the bipartite library to analyze this kind of network.
Okay, I guess that's it, right? This table.
Yes.
Okay. Professor?
Okay. You commented that you use a special library from networks.
Yes, teacher. There is
What library do you use?
It is called bipartite.
Bipartite. Okay.
And they compute the central the measures.
Prices of a bipartite network.
Different.
Okay.
So you can see maybe the node 1C. If we apply the normal measures, it has 0.63, but with the bipart measures, it is higher.
Okay. Okay.
I guess we'll have to stop now, and then I guess we'll take a few minutes late in the next session, so we give the opportunity to the other teams to present briefly what they accomplish with this small project. But I think it's very important, right, Professor, for the main project, the term project, right? Because this is a very important step towards
the final project. Yes.
Yes.
So we are going very well in the course, and we are going to see the videos, and I'm going to send you commentaries for each project, and see you next Wednesday. Okay.
Okay, Professor.
Yes.
Diego is asking something. I guess we need to give some information regarding the beginning of the next session, right, Professor?
About the conference.
Yeah, we have a guest speaker.
Okay. We have
Diego, we're going to have a guest speaker at the beginning of the class. We shared that information with you before. So it's going to be maybe in the middle of the class. So it's going to be after 7 p.m. This time when you present the teams that are missing, still pending for presenting.
Yes.
Okay. Nicholas, you have a question, right?
Yes, teacher. Previously, you showed us the presentation of the 9 group, but I am in the 8 group, but I can't see the link in the spreadsheet.
Let me see, because let me see. By the way, this student who just shared the file was, sorry, please give me Daniel. Oh no. Let me see. Was
I am in the 8 group. You previously showed the 9 group.
Okay, 8. So
okay.
8. So it was missing. What about? I think this one is the one that
in
is
the delivery. We share with you a link of YouTube.
But wait. Maybe I made a mistake, but let me see. Team number 6, I guess is the one that. Oh no, team number 7 rather. Do you have? Can you share? Please share your. Yeah, team number 7. Are you there? Because I think this is one that is not.
Yes, sure. I sent the link in the chat.
Okay, so you're
Sebastian.
Sorry. Who is this? Oh, Juan Sebastian. I'm lost. Juan Sebastian Gomez. You are. What team is yours?
17.
7. Oh, I guess let me see. 7. I guess it's team number 6 then that is missing here. Yeah. Which are the oh no. My bad. I think it was my bad. Let me see. So your team number 7. Shoot.
Populating. Yes.
This one?
Yes, yes, teacher.
Okay, number 7. Okay, and I'm missing, let's see. Okay, let's do something. I will go over each one of them again, the ones
Yes.
that are missing. And if I have any problem, then I'll just email you so I can get access to you.
Teacher, in
the
the A
videos.
group, you put a link of GitHub, but I shared with you in the chat the link of YouTube. You put a link of GitHub in the A group.
Okay, so who is speaking, please?
In the last Nicola Raul Rojas Feria, the last message in the
Oh,
chat.
yeah, it's because you shared the GitHub first, right?
No, I shared
was
in
me.
the delivery the GitHub
No, it's because somebody
and the video.
typed the GitHub link there.
Okay.
It was you, I guess. I don't. So your team,
The GitHub is from Team 6. The GitHub is from Team 6. I'm sorry.
And who? I'm lost it now. So it's Nicholas, right? It's your team. What's your team number?
8. The link of YouTube is the group that I shared with you.
Okay, 8. Okay, and the GitHub is whose?
Group
The
6.
GitHub is of the group 6. Yes.
Okay, let me just 7, 6. I guess this one. Let's see. Oh, but what about these YouTubes?
Yeah, what I was meant is that I forgot to add the GitHub in the.
Oh, in the report. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, I guess we're settled. I think we'll let you go now. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Have a good evening.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye, teachers.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you, professors. Bye bye.